Hallo, ich bin's, Robin, Deutschlehrer mit Core Languages, and today is such a beautiful day. I decided to go outside. I decided to go to Hampton Park in downtown Charleston. And now that I'm here, I'm at the park or in the park. I decided to go to the lake. So now I'm near the lake or by the lake. Notice how I'm constantly describing the relationship between myself and another noun in the sentence. So I'm using, you guessed it, prepositions, and more specifically, prepositions of place. Prepositions of place help us demonstrate the relationship between nouns or pronouns in a sentence. And when we're using nouns or pronouns in German, we're dealing with the cases. But what case goes with what preposition? Well, it depends. Not only on the preposition, but also on the question that we're asking. Where are you? Where are you going? Or where are you coming from? So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to use prepositions of place so that you can use them in your German sentences. I would say los geht's und viel Spaß beim Deutschlernen.
Prepositions of place. Prepositions help us express the relationship between nouns in a sentence, and whenever we're dealing with the relationship of nouns in a sentence in German, we are dealing with cases. Some prepositions of place, or lokale Präpositionen, use the accusative case. These typically answer the question wohin. Here are some durch, entlang, herum, and über. I could, for example, say durch die Berge, through the mountains. Die Berge is in the accusative case. Die Straße entlang, along the street. Den Park herum, around the park. Über die Brücke, over the bridge. Notice that most prepositions are placed before the noun, with the exception of entlang. Entlang follows its object. Prepositions of place, or lokale Präpositionen, are also found in the dative case, and local prepositions in the dative case can answer all three where questions: wo, woher, and wohin. Look at the following examples and pay attention to the noun that is placed after the preposition in the dative case. An, vorbei. Gehen Sie an der Kirche vorbei. Walk past the church or go past the church. Aus. Kommst du aus der Schweiz? Are you from Switzerland? Die Schweiz is a country in German that has an article, die Schweiz, and die Schweiz in the dative case is der Schweiz. Bei. Ich bin beim Supermarkt. I am at the grocery store. Bis zu. Wir fahren bis zur Grenze. We're driving up until the border or up to the border. Gegenüber von. Sie wohnt gegenüber vom Bahnhof. She lives across from the train station, or she lives across the train station. Nach. Fliegt nach Helsinki. He flies to Helsinki. Von. Ihr kommt gerade vom Hotel, oder? You're coming from the hotel just now, aren't you? Zu. Ich gehe heute zum Arzt. I'm going to the doctor today. Depending on the preposition, the gender of the noun, and its case, we can form contractions. The contractions are between the preposition and the article of the noun. For example, an dem can become am. An das can become ans. Bei dem can be beim. In dem can become im. In das can become ins. Von dem can be vom. Zu der can become zur, and zu dem can become zum. When using prepositions of place in German, we need to pay attention to the word order, as it is slightly different in German than it is in English. Prepositions of place in German usually occur after elements of time and manner in a sentence, whereas in English, they come before elements of time. When prepositional phrases are at the beginning of a sentence, there is no comma. But remember, when you put something else in position 1 of a sentence, other than the subject, remember that the next thing after the prepositional phrase would be the verb, and then the subject. Here are some Beispiele. Zur Bank geht morgen früh. He is going to the bank tomorrow morning, but with emphasis to the bank. Literally, I could say, to the bank, he goes tomorrow morning. Notice that in this example, the verb geht is in second position and the subject is after the verb. Ich laufe meinen Block herum. I run around my block. Die Post ist gegenüber der Straße vom Hauptbahnhof. The post office is across the street from the train station. Here are some more Beispiele of sentences that use prepositions of place and different cases. See if you can identify the case for each sentence. Wir laufen bis zum Wald. We are running up to the forest. Zum is the contracted version of zu dem, which is the dative case. Der Bär kommt aus seiner Höhle. The bear comes out of his cave. Die Höhle, the cave, in this example is also in the dative case. Wir wohnen beim Brandenburger Tor. We live by the Brandenburg Gate. Beim is the contracted version of bei dem, dative case. And lastly, ich fahre jetzt nach Ulm. I'm driving to Ulm. There's no article for the city of Ulm, but it is in the accusative case. Here are two example sentences using the prepositions über and gegenüber. We will use the same noun, die Straße, in two different sentences. Pay attention to how the case changes depending on what preposition we're using. Das Kaufhaus des Westens steht gegenüber der Straße. The Kaufhaus des Westens is across from the street or across the street. In this example, die Straße is in the dative case. Geht über die Straße. He goes or he walks across the street or he crosses the street. In this example, die Straße is in the accusative case. Here are two examples using von and aus, both of which can mean from or out of. Kommst du zu Hause? In this example, we would use von. Kommst du von zu Hause? Are you coming from home? But ich komme aus Köln. I come from Cologne, as in I am from Cologne. Let's practice. Üben wir. Choose between an vorbei and herum. To complete the following two sentences, pay attention to the case of the noun. Die Leute gehen den Potsdamer Platz. Den Potsdamer Platz is accusative, so the correct preposition would be die Leute gehen den Potsdamer Platz herum. The people are walking around the Potsdamer Platz. Du gehst der Kreuzung immer geradeaus. Die Kreuzung is in the dative case, so the correct sentence is, du gehst an der Kreuzung vorbei, immer geradeaus. You're walking past the intersection and keep going straight, or always go straight. And how about these two examples? See if you can figure out what preposition would be most appropriate to use. Wir sind Bäckerei gegangen. The preposition to use would be zu. Die Bäckerei becomes der Bäckerei in the dative case, and zu der becomes zur. Wir sind zur Bäckerei gegangen. We have gone to the bakery. Ich fahre den Tunnel. Notice that der Tunnel is in the accusative case, and we would most likely drive through the tunnel. Ich fahre durch den Tunnel.
Vielen Dank fürs Zusehen. I hope you now have a better understanding of how to use prepositions of place. As always, if you have more questions, feel free to comment, or if you're interested in joining one of our German courses with a live instructor, feel free to message us directly. Das war's, vielen Dank und bis zum nächsten Mal.